Let's get started. Get ready for some Thunderfunking DotA. This is the Dota 2 Super League. Very large Chinese tournament. It's actually the largest at the moment. 1 million won on the line. Still in the group stages. Has not yet reached the playoffs. Orange has been doing fantastic. LGD International performing well, but not turning their performances into victories quite yet. We'll see if they manage to do that in this game, this best of 3 versus Orange. I believe the last time I was casting a Chinese tournament, I said that it was the largest. It was the G1 League, and I said it was the largest, but now the Dota 2 Super League has surpassed them. I think 1 million won ends up being somewhere around 60,000 US dollars. It's a lot of money, and it's a really good thing for the Chinese scene because it's been a bit starved for tournaments because of the way the contracts are signed for most of the Chinese teams. They're basically prohibited from participating in tournaments below a specific dollar amount. But now that money is starting to flow into the scene, and by flow I mean rush like a massive waterfall, there's a lot of tournaments going on. And there's a lot of new teams showing up. There's just so much competition everywhere. It's fabulous. This is also the first game I'll be casting of 6.78, which I'm very excited to do. The Chinese teams are usually a little slower to, I shouldn't say adapt, but to start changing their picks and bans based on the adjustments to heroes. So I would be surprised if there are any shock picks in this best of 3, but we can always hope. There have been some pretty crazy picks going on in other tournaments, with Spirit Breaker showing up as a support, Razor support, Bristleback. There's a Meepo pick. It's pretty fabulous, and I can only imagine it'll be a short order of time before the new picks start cascading into the Chinese scene. But let's start looking at the picks and bans in this game. Orange starts off with the oh-so-powerful Chaos Knight Wisp. Wisp received a very minor nerf in 6.78. Really the only significant one was increasing the HP and mana drain on Overcharge from 3.5 to 4.5%, making it more costly for Wisp to keep that up. There was also another minor nerf with the Vision on Spirits. The Wisp Spirits would provide Vision wherever they went, but now they no longer do that. They only provide temporary vision if they collide with an enemy hero. Ultimately not a very big nerf, but Wisp is one of those heroes that you can't nerf it too much or it will see no play whatsoever, and I think everybody really likes Wisp, even if it's a little overpowered. And Chaos Knight received no changes in the last patch. Gyrocopter had his flat cannon nerfed, and that was it. It was a 10-second increase to the cooldown from 20 to 30. Also very minor, doesn't really change his strength as a carry. It does influence his teamfight a little bit in that if the teamfight, whereas a 40-second teamfight would allow him to get 2 flat cannons off, possibly 3, now he'll only get 1 off. But that doesn't seem to change. Most teams have still been picking Gyrocopter regardless. He's still going to be a very strong pick. Clockwork as well. He had a significant nerf. I think people have been overreacting to it. The change was that his cogs no longer push back heroes that are magic immune, but it still traps them. So he can still do the combo of hookshotting in, activating cogs, and then force staffing out, leaving a hero like Nake's Lifestealer trapped inside and unable to deal any damage. So I still think he's a very strong pick. Just his team fight is a little less ridiculous than it was before. Both of these picks are very strong. The picks for both teams are very strong right now. Orange has some excellent initiation with long range hook from Clockwork, and of course the relocate from ohaiyo. They're going to be able to start fights whenever and wherever. However, LG International have really strong AoE in team fight. With Gyrocopter Flat Cannon, Alchemist Acid Spray, and of course Sand King with the Epicenter, LG International are going to be looking to fight as 5 once the mid-game hits, which is a pretty good thing for them when you're up against a Chaos Knight Wisp. You don't want to be going for a ganking lineup, having heroes off by themselves or in small groups, leaving them susceptible to relocate ganks from Chaos Knight and Wisp or getting caught out by the Clockwork.
10 seconds remaining.
I have to say, the new picking order is also, it's much more rapid fire. Of course, both of these teams tend to pick faster than some of the Western teams, which frequently go through all of their time, including the reserve time for every pick. So, it makes it a little hard to analyze each and every pick as they come out.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm a little worried for Nature's Prophet in this game. Clockwork is very strong against Nature's Prophet. The Sprout does absolutely nothing to defend him. He can't just Sprout and TP, especially with a Wisp and Chaos Knight in there. So there's a lot of ways to take out the Nature's Prophet, and it's going to weaken his split push, which is really the strongest aspect of Nature's Prophet. Now he is still really strong. You get the farm up, you get the something like a Sheepstick, Desolator, AC. There's a lot of ways that you can build Nature's Prophet. You can make him have great DPS in a fight, and he's always going to be able to find the farm. But I think his split push is not going to be very strong in this game, which I think weakens that pick quite a bit.
5 seconds
Orange may still be
remaining.
looking for their mid pick. Clockwork can always mid, and you can always send the Chaos Knight and Wisp together in middle, which Orange has been known to do. But Clockwork likely will go in that off lane with Chaos Knight Wisp in the safe lane, Enchantress in the jungle, forming a kind of tri lane. It's not really a tri lane because Enchantress is not going to be there most of the time. We'll stay in the jungle as much as possible, and only come out when she's got the creep she needs to make a gank happen, or when the opportunity presents itself. Unlikely that she'll be aggressively jungling in this game. LG International, there could be an Alchemist mid. That's been seeing a little more
remaining.
as of late, particularly with the nerf to Bottle Crow.
5 seconds
The nerf being
remaining.
that the courier moves 30% slower if it's carrying an empty bottle.
Reserve time.
And the math of it works out that you can't just leave a one charge in the bottle and send it back. That's actually less efficient than sending the empty bottle back on its own. So traditional mids like Magnus and Dragon Knight over the last patch are seeing a little less play because they were so reliant on that Bottle Crow. Alchemist, however, he's able to stay in the lane thanks to Acid Spray. Makes last hitting quite easy, and it's good harass, very reliable. And once he hits 6, harassment is not really a problem for him. And being mid in the solo mid, you get that level 6 quite fast. So he doesn't need a whole lot of regen in the lane. So we may see an Alchemist mid. I would say Gyrocopter and Sand King probably going towards that bottom lane. Nature's Prophet could be in the jungle, probably going to be in the off lane, especially if it's a Chaos Knight Wisp. They will not be able to kill him very early on, so he should be able to get those first few levels without too much trouble. And so Orange does pick up a solo mid in Puck. Very strong solo mid. I think Orange's lineup is really quite well balanced, I think. Their team fight,
10 seconds
perhaps
remaining.
a little weak. The only big AoE they've got is in Puck.
5 seconds remaining.
But they have several ways to initiate a fight, and they're really good at finding pickoffs
Reserve time.
in the chaos of a 5v5 engagement. And they also have pretty decent burst damage through the Chaos Knight Wisp, and once Enchantress gets the impetus going, that's a lot of damage that most of the heroes in Orange are going to be pumping out. Clockwork, probably the least relevant in terms of damage, but his initiation is fantastic, and if he's able to catch one person with the Battery Assault, that's also a lot of damage. LG International picking up the Jakiro for the last pick. Strong support, good AoE, fits with the theme of their strong AoE team fight so far. Alright, I'm going to check on the stream here.
Prepare for battle.
Make sure it's not too laggy. Seems to be okay. I'm going to close a couple background windows here. Hopefully I can get a little smoother. Yeah, that's not quite as smooth as I would like it. I'm gonna have to close some windows, I think. Close a few background programs.
Pull roots and run.
Should be able to get back in here momentarily.
30 seconds to battle.
Okay, excellent. Very good. Yeah, it's a little smoother. All right, running through the lineups. For LGD International, we've got paijkatt on that gyrocopter down in the safe lane. Brax on Sand King, who will be joining gyrocopter in the safe lane. G on Alchemist mid. 1437 playing Jakiro. He'll also be heading towards the safe lane. And Misery on that Nature's Prophet off lane. For Orange, we've got kyxy playing the Chaos Knight. Net playing ohaiyo. Xtinct playing Enchantress. Mushi on that solo mid puck. And ohaiyo playing Clockwork. And it looks like he's going to be... This is a new trick that's kind of shown up recently. Clockwork can... If he chops a couple trees down back here, he's able to cogs the creep wave and trap them into this back area. Which... That delays some experience for the safe lane. And allows him to basically build up a push over time. If he does it successfully, and it's kind of hard to do, it's a little unreliable. So as you can see, he's only gotten two creeps total from two separate waves. And the other problem is that if the safe lane on the Radiant side is successfully chain pulling and denying the full wave, that's not actually going to fetch him any extra experience, because part of the goal is to get the creep wave closer to his tower so he can get his experience. And as you can see, he's gotten 0 experience so far. Eventually, it will create a fairly strong wave, which he can push to the tower with, especially if someone else from another lane joins him. But remains to be seen whether it's an effective play. Over in mid, I think this is a fairly even matchup. Puck is not particularly good at avoiding the harass from Alchemist. Because it's a large damage over time, the phase shift does very little about it, and should be seeing him take a lot of damage, but he'll have the bottle relatively soon. And G actually already has his bottle. I'd say the only major weakness of Alchemist in this lane is that challenging runes is a little bit difficult, especially if there's not assistance.
I sprout anew.
From his lane mates, which he's getting right now from Misery. Misery's hit level 2.5 already. It's definitely a little bit better than what ohaiyo is able to get in this offlane. Still hasn't gotten any experience. Does release the creep wave, so there's a very large amount of creeps. Oh, first blood. Caught onto ohaiyo in the jungle. I'm not sure what ohaiyo is doing there, but Misery may pay for this, giving a kill towards Xtinct. Mushi's going to rotate into the jungle, and with an orb, should be able to finish off that kill. So kind of an even trade. Really don't want to be dying as Nature's Prophet, but because he has the teleport, he can recover fairly easily. And getting a kill on ohaiyo, it is quite good for slowing down the arrival of those relocate ganks, which Orange is going to be looking forward to very much. So, like I said, a bit of an even trade overall. Xtinct is at level 4, so he's jungling pretty efficiently at this point. The supports on the Radiant side, they're at level 2, so they're getting some experience. Let's get the last hits up here. That's the most important thing going on right now. And paijkatt and kyxy are basically neck and neck right now, which is as it should be. They both have free farm. They're unchallenged in these lanes. ohaiyo he did manage to get level 3. So caught up pretty decently there. I think that was because he was able to steal some of the neutrals that were being pulled by Brax. So that's pretty good for him. Kind of makes up for the lackluster off lane so far. Actually, that catches him up entirely with Misery, so that's really good for him. And I think this is the right choice by him. He's chosen to level up the Rocket Flare over getting multiple levels of Battery Assault, for example. The Rocket Flare is going to allow him to get some last hits. Guarantee he's getting at least a little bit out of this lane. Whereas the Battery Assault, he wouldn't be making any use of that in the short term. So, a passive early game so far, which is not particularly surprising. That kind of tends to happen when you've got a Wisp in the game. Orange wants to wait until they've got the relocate ganks going
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
before they start moving around the map.
Dire's
Now,
middle
xtinct
tower
is
under
rotating
attack.
around. He was spotted, so I don't think this is going to be a surprise to Misery up in this offlane. But he has a Dark Troll Summoner at least for another 5 seconds, so that's actually going to die before he's able to get any
Radiant's
kills.
top tower is under attack.
And there's a TP up from 1437. Oh, there's the Reality Rift onto Misery, followed by the Chaos Bolt. He goes down. ohaiyo gets the last hit. But kyxy is dropping really low because there's a teleport from paijkatt up to that top lane, so there are 2 teleports from LGD International. And actually, ohaiyo does not manage to get a...
Tower is under attack.
well, he was dead either way. I was about to say, he didn't move at all from the tether because he was too close to xtinct when he cast the tether. But because G was waiting for him on the other side there, he was pretty much dead regardless. So an overextension from Orange. They got the kill on Misery, but really good rotation from LG International. Particularly, they teleported to different towers. I think that was the best part. They basically pinned them in between the 2 towers, provided no opportunity for escape, and most of all, the teleport from Gyrocopter was what bursted kyxy down so quickly. So, early engagement favoring LGD International. What? Mushi did not dodge the unstable concoctions. I'm not sure what his thought process was there. He's bottling up. He wants to finish off G, but he's taking so much damage from the acid spray with just some auto attacks from 1437. So overextension by Mushi. I honestly wasn't expecting anything to happen there because I thought Mushi would have just phase shifted the concoction. It is a little hard to do with level 1 phase shift. It's only 0.75 second duration. So overall, a couple misplays there from Mushi. I think didn't need to get to give up that kill. Top tier 1 goes down in the meantime in favor of Orange. It'll be a while, I think, before LGD International gets a tower of their own. Their push for the moment is not fantastic. Net is actually still level 4 at almost 8 minutes in, so that's unfortunate for him. Part of the reason that Orange went for Enchantress in this game was to give more room and experience to that safe lane. But because of the 2 deaths, he's been slowed down quite a lot. ohaiyo is not quite yet 6 either. Actually, Orange was grouped up mid as 3, looking to go on G, but not going to happen just yet. And honestly, he's got 1200 HP thanks to the Chemical Rage, so he's a little hard to kill right now. Their burst is not quite that good. There's a smoke up on Orange. They may find Brax here. There's the Dream Coil. Oh yeah, followed up by the Waning Rift. Picks off Brax quite easily. They're now 4 bottom for Orange. They may look to dive this, and this is dangerous for LGD International. Reality Rift and Chaos Bolt and pyjkatt. He gets bursted down really fast. There's a teleport in from Brax. Will he be able to show up in time? And another teleport in from G and buyback from pyjkatt. Mushi is really far back here. He might be able to escape, although no, he's gonna orb straight into. Oh, he actually chooses not to go to the orb, and he will get picked off by Brax and xtinct. Picked off, was not able to get away in time. So diving too hard from Orange. Orange is overextending a little bit. They really want to be aggressive, but I think it's just premature. They also probably weren't expecting the buyback and teleport in from pyjkatt, and his damage was pretty crucial in capturing the last 2 kills there. So ultimately a 3-for-1 engagement. They do get pyjkatt and they force a buyback out. It's going to slow his farm down quite a bit, but it's fairly early in the game, not an expensive buyback, and was able to get return kills for it, so definitely favoring LGD International in that engagement.
Is under attack.
Nets finally hit 6, so that's pretty good for that Wisp Chaos Knight combo. Gloves of Haste picked up on Misery, so we can expect him to be going for the Hand of Midas this game. pyjkatt looks to be going Treads and Drum. Normally you see the Phase Drum, just for lots of movement speed, but it looks like he wants to be extra tanky to deal with the Chaos Knight Wisp combo. I think it's a smart decision by him.
No.
So as this progresses into the mid-game, LG International has to be careful not to give up the lead that they've acquired so far. And that means not letting... Oh, there's a hook shot. Doesn't lash. And there's a relocate as well. They Reality Rift G back in. But there's no Chaos Bolt. Or no, there was a Chaos Bolt, but it was only 2 seconds. Yes. So, ultimately, a little bit of wasted time from Orange. Not able to make a kill happen out of that. And as I was just about to say, it's important for LG International not to give up any free pickoffs to Orange in this mid game. And because of the use of the relocate there, pyjkatt can feel quite safe being on his own, although he's not at the moment. 1437 and Brax waiting nearby in the event that Orange wants to jump on him. Another smoke on xtinct. He may look to rotate in the near future. Chaos Knight's got Treads, almost got his drums, so pretty similar builds coming out from both Gyrocopter and Chaos Knight. Interesting choice of Arcanes on xtinct. Normally you see Treads on Enchantress. The attack speed synergizes quite nicely with Impetus, provides some much needed HP. Enchantress has probably, I don't know if it's the worst, but one of the worst base strengths in the game, as well as strength gains. So relatively easy to pick off if you're able to get her before she pops in Nature's Attendance. And while she can definitely make use of the mana, that's not necessarily what she will want in the late game. Mushi is smoked up and is teleported bottom. Xtinct is also rotating. They may find Brax. Yes, there's the silence, followed up by the orb. 2 impetus hits, and he goes down quite quickly. Lack of ward coverage from LG International costing them a little bit right there. It is only a support kill, but I mean, honestly, a simple ward anywhere in this area would have allowed Brax to see that coming. No problem. Misery's got his Midas going now. Although there's the Reality Rift, followed up by the Chaos Bolt and the Tether. Misery may go down really fast, but there's 3 teleports from LG International. If Net can get the relocate off, he might be able to get KYXY out in time, and he does. But Clockwork actually picking up a kill on G down in bottom. So good play by Orange. Finding trades. And really more than trades. LG National does pick up the Wisp when Net comes back. That's the cost of saving kyxy, but that's ultimately worth it. That's a kill going towards kyxy, a death on Misery, and not the most valuable kill in the world on ohaiyo. And meanwhile, Orange, they dive bottom. They got the bottom tier 1.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And they got a kill on that solo mid Alchemist, so that's definitely favors Orange. Really nice by them, applying pressure all across the map at once. It's hard to coordinate that, but they did it just nicely. And I think that was the perfect response by them, seeing that there were 3 teleports top, which was probably a little bit of an overreaction from LG International. It's not often the case that that teams overreact. It's usually the case of not reacting enough. But Orange making use of that opportunity quite nicely. Nevertheless, net worth favoring LG International for the moment. Paijkatt, he's picked up his Ober Club, looking to get that BKB as soon as possible, which will be very useful for a lot of what Orange is pumping out. Blink Dagger picked up on Puck. That's going to be really useful for amping up the aggression. kyxy has to be careful here. There's 4 from LG International. If they get there's the stable concoction. And Net, can he get the relocate off in time? No, he's not. It was really close, but ultimately, that's two kills for LG International on that most valuable Chaos Knight. Overextending just way too far, and they don't have the ward coverage
Dire's top tower is under
to feel
attack.
secure being that far pushed forward. ohaiyo needs to be careful here. G has just picked up his Shadow Blade.
Nature
He would
attendants.
love to dive this tower. And there he goes. He's started an xtinct, starts the unstable concoction. Can they finish him off fast enough? There's a hook shot from ohaiyo, trapping G. Good battery assault damage going off. 2 teleports in from Orange. kyxy has showed up. He wants to defend this tower. Alchemist goes down. His overextension does not pay. And Misery, meanwhile, gets trapped up in the top trees. There's a Dream Coil onto Brax. There's no way for him to get out of this. He should be going down momentarily. He might be able to delay long enough to... No, couldn't even get the stun off. Tether stun sends him to his grave. And Jakiro goes down as well.
Rise in my presence.
Mushi making good use of that Blink Dagger to chase very far. So that's a 4-for-1 in favor of Orange. I would say that was a sloppy engagement from LGD International. They really looked like they had the upper hand, especially as long as Chaos Knight and ohaiyo were dead. But I think part of G's problem was that he Shadow Bladed
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
before charging up the unstable concoction. If he had waited until the concoction was off cooldown, charged it up, walked in, and then used it, there would be very little time for xtincts to respond, and most importantly, get that Nature's Attendants off, which was what allowed him to live through that fight. So a mistake there by G, I think, ends up being quite costly. And overall, not focusing targets enough. I think the rest of LG International not feeling confident about diving that tower, but G really wanting to. So very back and forth game so far. So about a 3,500 gold or experience advantage and about 3,000 gold in favor of Orange. Not overwhelming. It's about 1 team fight's worth of engagement to bring things back into parity for LG International. Net working on his mechanism. Be a little while before he gets that, but that'll be quite powerful once he has it up. Drums finished on kyxy, picked up the Ober Club, also going to be going for BKB. So thus far, identical builds between Gyrocopter and Chaos Knight. Paijkatt! He's trapped inside 3. Oh, he gets the BKB off. Is he going to be able to make it out? Net actually goes down to Nature's Prophet with the unstable concoction. Paijkatt's BKB is run out. I don't think he's going to be able to make it out. Although there's the reality rift canceling his teleport, and now G is trapped with kyxy. And there's, oh no, a missed hook shot from Ohaiyo. Doesn't look like it's going to matter though. G trapped inside the cogs with Ohaiyo. The input is damage is huge. So another, I would say, overly greedy chase. They really wanted to finish off paijkatt, and by all rights they should have had him. But there was a good response from LGD International, which I think Orange should have expected. They were not far from the top tier 2. And he just... They didn't quite have the damage. No small part because of the BKB. So another good engagement for Orange. Walking out with a lot of kills, and kills on important heroes. They get the Alchemist. Wow, I got confused there. I'm just gonna leave that one be.
Radiant structures are fortified.
I think paijkatt died in that last fight. Yeah, they got the Alchemist and
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
wow. I just have one of those moments where I realized that I had the teams backwards, but that's gonna happen. I'll keep it clear next time. Actually, it looks like xtinct is point booster gonna be an Aghanims. I would be shocked to see a Bloodstone on an Enchantress. It would not be a very useful item for her to pick up. So it looks like she will be going for the Aghanims this game. Her damage output would be quite nice. Well, Mushi has no gold at the moment, but looks like, yeah, he's got an ultimate orb. We'll be going for that sheep stick. And should have it in probably the next 5 to 10 minutes. BKB picked up on Clockwork. Interesting choice. Oh, there's an unstable concoction on kyxy. Net has tethered in, but he's going down so fast. There's the macro pyre. Net soon to follow. So LGD, they take a top tier 1 and they get the Chaos Knight Wisp down. That's going to allow them to keep pushing. But there's a hook in from Clockwork and a buyback from kyxy. No Epicenter yet from Brax. I'd really like to see that on him. Misery, too far forward, gets eaten up by kyxy. G does finish off xtinct. But kyxy pops the Phantasm, dealing a lot of damage, which the BKBs do nothing against. kyxy has to be careful though. He does not want to die again, especially after... Oh, the concoction finishes him off. Brax probably not going to be able to make it out of this, especially with the relocate from ohaiyo. So, what looked like a really good start for LGD International, I think that buyback from kyxy was what turned the tides in that fight. And at that point, LGD International was committed. No easy way to back out of that fight. They could only try and duke it out, and that BKB on Clockwork helped keeping him alive, making those the hook shots from him a lot less risky. So an unconventional first pickup for him, but still working out very well. Mechanism almost up on ohaiyo, and that's really going to help a whole lot in keeping kyxy alive. A mechanism there absolutely would have kept kyxy from dying in the first place. They had just enough burst to get him down. Oh, there's a hook in on a paijkatt. ohaiyo pops the BKB, as does paijkatt. Mushi has a double damage. He's dealing so much damage. Jakiro drops very fast, but Mushi eats a full rocket barrage. Goes down, no trouble. Instant buyback from Mushi, though. Wants to get back into the fight as soon as possible. And there's kyxy. There's a relocate into the backside. Net has to be careful. He drops to G's very large damage right now in the unstable concoction. paijkatt, he goes down. There's a stun onto kyxy. Mushi has to be careful. Does not want to die after that buyback. So a pretty crazy fight all around. It's a little hard to know who's coming out on top here. Mushi He should be A-okay here. With a solo alchemist, he's not going to be in too much trouble. And there's a blink dagger up onto Brax. That's a pretty big deal. He's now level 11. He hasn't got an epicenter off yet in this game. I think recognizing that there's just too many ways for Orange to interrupt it. But now that he has the blink dagger, we can expect to see some big epicenters from him in these upcoming engagements. That said, there are 2 BKBs on Orange, and so Clockwork and kyxy are not going to be too concerned with that epicenter damage, depending on how it's timed. If he does it correctly, he'll wait until after the BKBs are dropped, or he'll initiate and prevent kyxy from using his BKB. Although he actually, I've been speaking incorrectly this whole time, kyxy has not managed to pick it up yet. I'm sure it had everything to do with that buyback earlier. Yeah, with 800 gold on him, he definitely would have had it by now if he hadn't had to buy back. So he needs to get that up as soon as possible. Demon Edge picked up on paijkatt. His damage is starting to get up there. I expect that'll be a Monkey King bar coming up on him relatively soon. So his damage will be pretty dangerous. It'll be most important on Net and Mushi. And to a lesser extent, Xtinct. The Nature's Attendance is a decent way of handling the damage from Flat Cannon. Nature's Attendance is worst against high burst damage, and Flat Cannon is not really burst, it's more of high sustain. So kyxy does finish his BKB. So that'll be really important for this next fight, and that's a full 10 charge BKB. Make it really hard for Brax to get off an epicenter, at least in these first few engagements. There was a nerf to BKB in this most recent patch, dropping the maximum, or I guess how to say, lowering the minimum duration down to 4 seconds, basically increasing the number of charges that can be dropped on it. So as the game goes on, BKB becomes less and less effective, and 4 seconds is not a particularly long time. It means you have to be really careful about when you use it. A badly timed BKB can mean a dead carry in any of these fights. It also kind of turns it into more of a get-out-of-jail-free card rather than a tool for invincible sustained damage. G will also have his own BKB in this next fight. He's only about 120 gold away, which I think that'll be pretty crucial for him. He's been getting caught inside Clockwork Cogs and eating a full battery assault, which is a lot of damage. Of course, it won't stop the hookshot or the Cogs, but it will increase the survivability quite a lot. Probably most important against Mushi in these fights. 2,300 gold on Mushi. He's working his way towards that Sheepstick, probably another 1,400 gold, and he'll be there, so just another few minutes. And will also be very strong in these fights. I think his primary target is probably going to be paijkatt, followed up by G or Misery. Misery also building his own BKB, so this is a game of BKBs. Kinda would have liked to see a stronger nerf to BKB in the last patch. It gets a little boring to see so many in one game. I was very appreciative of the Shadowblade nerf. I think too many heroes were picking it up. It was just too, for what it provided, it gave too much. Admittedly, all they did was lower the damage on Shadowblade by 8, but that is significant. Well, 1437 hasn't managed to pick up any support items yet. Be curious to see what Brax builds next. Could go a lot of different directions. Probably wants to get some HP up. Shadowblade picked up on the Misery. So that's 2 Shadowblades on the side of LGD International right now. Net, I expect that on the courier right now is a mechanism, and there it is. So important pickup for ohaiyo, probably the most important item you can get on a Wisp.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Monkey King Bar finished on paijkatt, so his damage will be pretty fearsome in the next fight. I think both teams kind of content to farm for the time being because they've been so close to so many of their items, which they've wanted to have in all of these last few fights. But the action has been too frenetic. Smoke up onto 4. With all these items finished, they want to go fight. They may be able to catch ohaiyo here, which that would be a pretty strong pickoff. And G not able to get in range in time. ohaiyo waiting off to the side. I think suspects that there could be an opportunity for a hook here. They're missing Mushi and Xtinct though, and they need everybody to take these fights. LGD is grouped as 5 here.
Dire's middle tower.
They'll sack the tier 1.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Give kyxy some time to farm up. And it is possible that they're nervous about the damage from paijkatt. He is hitting for about 230 right now, 220. It's just a lot of physical damage to be eating. Sheepstick finished on Mushi.
Behold!
Wonder what G will go next. We'd kind of like to see a basher given the number of BKBs in this game. It's one of the few ways of providing lockdown regardless, and his attack speed goes very nicely with that. I imagine ohaiyo will be picking up a pipe this game. He's already got the cloak, and that pipe will be very necessary for dealing with the epicenter damage. You really don't want to underestimate the teamfight potential of a Sand King. Smoke up on 4 for LGD International, and there are 5 down here for Orange. Be very careful here as I fast forward through here. There are no sentries down right now for Orange. They're going to catch net, and if they can get him down really fast, yeah, he just absolutely pops. Phantasm pops. 1437 taking a lot of damage. kyxy stun locked. Not able to do anything there, and Clockwork drops as well. So net really caught off guard there. I think that was, I could say that was bad positioning, but he really wasn't far from his teammates. He just dropped so fast, and they really need him to stay alive in these fights. That overcharge boosts the damage output of Chaos Knight by so much. LGD International will take down Roche in basically no time, and I imagine they'll go straight into
Has fallen to the Radiant.
taking down some towers, which they should be able to do with relative ease. Probably want to heal up first, but yeah, they really need net to be alive. I think he's got to stay tethered to kyxy, and he has to be in the least vulnerable position possible, which that's not where he was, even if it wasn't very far away. Little choices like that can really be the difference between winning and losing a team fight when things are so close. And I mean, this is how close it is. It's back down to 0. 3,000 gold difference, but 32 minutes into the game, not overwhelming. Hyperstone picked up onto G. I imagine that will be a Assault Cuirass coming up on him shortly. Misery's still working on his own BKB. He's stopped on the way to get his Shadow Blade. So thus far this game, I don't feel like we've seen a lot from the Wisp Chaos Knight combo. They've had some good fights, but they definitely haven't found any pickoffs. And it doesn't feel like they've been able to maximize the use of how that lets you position. But there's a relocate down to bottom. There are 4 down here for Orange. And Mushi is not here. He pops the ultimate. G trapped inside the cogs. He's got the BKB pop, so he's not eating anything from the battery assault. And then relocate. Oh, there's a full epicenter onto kyxy. So Orange really wanted to make something happen there, but they give up a kill. And Mushi, he's very survivable, so he should be able to make it out of this, no problem. So good epicenter from Brax. Finishing off kyxy, no problem. And I kind of have to question the choice by Net to tether Clockwork. He could have tethered kyxy, and they would have been able to get out together. Perhaps they thought that kyxy would be able to get away. Oh, there's a hook in. Mushi pops this, the sheep's... hasn't popped the sheep's actually. Dream Coil and Waning Rift. Net needs to be careful here. He's already popped the mechanism. Oh, Ohio. He eats a full Rocket Barrage and he goes down. So that's a 3-for-1. They get the Jakiro down really fast, but that was not who they wanted to get. Oh, Mushi. He's got to be careful. Oh, 82 HP. Very close.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Well, that's 2 towers down in favor of Orange, and yet another set of kills. I'm not sure what the idea was with the Clockwork hookshot there. I mean, they got the pick off on Jakiro, but Jakiro really hasn't been the difference maker in these fights.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They've got to get paijkatt. He is by far the most important hero to take down, but he's had that Aegis this whole time, and it makes me think that Orange should just be farming. They shouldn't be pressing these fights. I think this is a mistake that many teams make with Chaos Knight Wisp, is that they feel the power that relocate gives them. They want to be making use of it. They know what the opportunity cost is. But they're forcing fights when they don't really need to, and really when they can't. kyxy does not have the farm to burst paijkatt down. I mean, Chaos Knight's very good against Gyrocopter. Now the Flat Cannon does handle the Phantasm illusions quite nicely. Oh, there's the Phantasm popped. Tether and overcharge. paijkatt's dropping so low, but he still has that Aegis, and his Phantasm illusions are going to do nothing. 143.7 does go down, but it's a trade with xtinct. kyxy's man fighting with paijkatt, but that's all he's doing is popping the Aegis, and now he's exposed to G. He gets a 2-second Chaos Bolt, but that's not going to give him enough time to get away. The Unstable Concoction's going to finish him off. Mushi does get a double kill in the meantime, but that's only onto Misery. paijkatt and G are still alive. Ohaiyo, he's in trouble here. He's already popped the cogs. It's unlikely that he'll be able to make it out of this. Homing Missile comes in and finishes him off. So that's a 4-for-2. And only having drums and BKB on kyxy means his Phantasm illusions don't have very much HP, making them very susceptible to the flat cannon damage from paijkatt. So more questionable decisions, and another fight that they didn't have to take. Perhaps I would hate to say to think that kyxy forgot about the Aegis, but I feel like that's the only reason he would be man fighting there, and it really wasn't very long until the Aegis expired. You know, another 30 seconds. So at that time, probably another minute. They could have delayed that fight, especially with Clockwork cogs. Clockwork is very good at protecting the base. You can cog at the entrance and keep the enemy team out of your base, and you can even, there's a lot of ways that you can control the fight that it seems like Orange is just not making use out of. If he pops the cogs, kyxy can Reality Rift and has a good chance of catching his Reality Rift target inside the cogs, separating them out, making it much easier to burst them down. And Mushi did get some good plays off in that fight, and really he's what's keeping them in the game at this point. He's not dying in the fights, and he's finding the few pickoffs that they're able to get. Getting a kill onto Misery, very valuable. Weakens the push from LGD by a fair amount. Satanic is finished on paijkatt, so his ability to fight 1v1, I mean, he's not going to have any problem. His sustainability in these fights will be fantastic. And kyxy, particularly if flat cannon is up, he's not going to be able to do anything about it. It looks like kyxy is going for... It could be an SNY, it could be a Heaven's Halberd. I don't know that I like either of those choices. Heaven's Halberd, the invasion isn't going to be doing anything, particularly against paijkatt, because he's got an MKB. He could be worried about the basher from G. He doesn't want to get stun locked, and it's very uncommon for alchemists to pick up an MKB. So it does help with that a little bit. The SNY I think would maybe be a little bit better than the Heaven's Halberd, but it's not a high impact item. And kyxy is already very fast. Chaos Knight has one of the I think the highest base movement speed in the game, and he's got drums. So movement speed is really not a problem for him. Does give him some attack speed, gives him... I mean, they're good stats, it's just, it's not going to change the way that these fights are going. There's a smoke up on 5 for Orange. Actually, Aghanim Scepter picked up on Brax. His epicenters are going to be even bigger. They'll last longer, which means they'll be even less likely for Orange, the BKBs on Orange to soak up that damage. They could be able to find Misery here. It's possible, but I don't know that they have any detection. So they better hope that they can finish him off fast. Oh, there's a relocate into middle. They're focusing 1437 again. Catch him inside the cogs, but ohaiyo is eating so much damage from G. It's just not going to work out. paijkatt chewing through kyxy, no problems. That's a 4 for 1. How many times has Orange died to kill 1437? It's not paying off. They're going for the target they can get, obviously, but they have to be focusing paijkatt. They can't. And Orange calls the GG, which I think is a very fair decision at this point.
Roots and run.
Overall, really great game played by LGD International. They really didn't do any overextensions. Unlike Orange, they had several throughout that game. Orange was forcing fights when they really didn't have to. They needed to get a lot more farm. I mean, looking at the net worth, it's... Well, I guess it's irrelevant now. It changes once the players leave the game. But, yeah, great team play from LGD International. And not getting caught out by the Chaos Knight Wisp kept them in this game very nicely. And really, I feel like they didn't even need the Jakiro and Sand King in this game. Their impact was decent. They did fine, and if only for the fact that it seemed like Orange got hungry for kills, and so they would overextend for getting the kill on 1437. And so as bait, I think Jakiro worked out quite nicely. There were a couple good ice paths that definitely secured some kills, but ultimately it was the play from the Tricores, the Nature's Prophet, the Alchemist, and Gyrocopter that made this game for LG International. I think those supports really could have been anybody the way this game played out.